Hey everybody, Greg Underdahl here for Angling Uploaded. Welcome to my recap video for, what is this? This is stage 3. We're at Leesburg, Florida for the Bass Pro Tour event on the Harris Chain of Lakes. And we're just going to do a recap of my week filming. Just wrapped up, just got off the water not that long ago with Bobby Lane. So we're just going to go through all 6 days of filming the Bass Pro Tour here on Harris Chain of Lakes in Leesburg, Florida. So here we go. Day 1, I was with Randy Howell, and Randy, I've worked with Randy a ton. Randy's always a great guy to work with. I feel like I'm forgetting something, like I need to explain, like if this is the first time that you've seen, you've just come across this video, I'm a freelance videographer for Major League Fishing. So, and I do recap videos of my time filming. Maybe there's something that you'll hear here that you wouldn't have been able to hear on the live stream, just some behind the scenes stuff. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Here we go. So yeah, Randy Howell, day 1. Day 1 would be Group A elimination round. So I was with Randy Howell, and he caught a 4-pounder, one of my favorite lures of all time because it's so great at triggering fish, is a soft jerkbait, and that's what Randy was using for a while. He caught a 4-pounder on a white soft jerkbait. It's very good at triggering fish because a soft jerkbait doesn't have a predictable action. You can trigger fish on it. This is my experience with it. You can trigger fish on it that won't trigger on other baits. Randy was having some, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Randy was, I think he was either, God, I should know this. I really need to take better notes. But I was moved off of Randy for some reason, and it's so long ago now, I can't remember why I was moved off Randy, so I apologize for that. But I was moved to Todd Faircloth. I'm looking at my notes here. If you've watched these videos before, you know I have my notes because my memory sucks, and my notes suck. So I'll try to do my best job conveying my week, but please bear with me. So move to Todd Faircloth. So what basically happens is I'm moved to wherever the action is, or storylines, drama. And if an angler is moving up and looks like they're in a position to do real well, or get into the cut, get over the cut line, or make a run for it, I'll get moved to that part of the field that is there's more dramatic storylines. If an angler's just running away with it, or like they're in the top 5, and I shouldn't say top 5, but it's basically the job of the director of the show, the producer of the show. There's many producers, but the producer that I work with the most is Randy White. He determines where I need to be moved. Any of the camera guys need to be moved to make the best show. So I was moved to Todd Faircloth, and Todd was pitching a black worm. He was using a Strike King, just a Texas rig. It was, I think, like a 6-inch, just straight tail worm, basically like a shaky head worm that, like a trick worm is a shaky head worm, but this was a Strike King's version of the shaky worm. Kind of cool. It's got an air pocket. They put a little, like a divot in the tail of the worm, and that makes that tail stand up, which is really important, especially in like shaky head applications. But he was using that, and he started targeting. He was fishing the canal, and he was pitching docks, and also just fishing like vegetation. But he started targeting wood more, and like cypress trees and cypress knees, like the root systems of cypress trees, and he really started catching them doing that. So he kind of made an adjustment there. It's always fun in the back of the boat when I'm filming to see how anglers adjust, and one of the great aspects of this job is that it can kind of help me as an angler improve, just my fishing out on the water. So it's a real benefit of being a freelance videographer or videographer, filming bass tournaments. So, that was day one of the first day. So first day of the elimination round. So for Group A, day two of my filming, that was Group B day, their first day of elimination, and I was with Bobby Lane. If you watched the Bass Pro Tour that was on Lake Travis in Austin, Texas, you saw how incredible that finish was at the end, where Bobby was only 2 ounces away from taking the lead from Wheeler. Wheeler ended up winning, but Bobby's had a hell of a year. He's leading in Angler of the Year right now, and he's what's great about Bobby is he's incredibly he's incredibly competitive, but he's also very positive and just an absolute pleasure to be in a boat with. I love working with Bobby. You could just tell he just loves life. So it's always good to be around a person like that. So it was kind of interesting. Chris Lane, who's Bobby's brother, was actually starting on the same spot of this stretch of Kissimmee grass, and they all, both his brother and they I guess you can't talk to competitors in this tournament, so they didn't talk to each other about where they were going. So they ended up going to the same spot, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do? And so they kind of decided to, Chris was going to fish quite a ways in front of them, and then Bobby was going to fish just a little bit different section, but they worked it out, and they're buds, so buds and brothers, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was kind of funny how they were thinking on the same, they were on the same wavelength. So Bobby started out pitching a creature bait to this Kissimmee grass, which looks a lot like Kissimmee grass looks like straw. So imagine straw before it actually turns into straw, or like hay. It kind of looks like that. It looks like it's some kind of a grass that you actually see on land, but it's in the water. That's the best way for me to describe it. And so he was fishing that. He was pitching that with a creature bait, more targeting the outside. He wasn't really going deep into that. He said that, those fish will come out. They might feed and stuff, shallower, but they will eventually move out. And the whole time, he was just fishing more than just that outside edge of this Kissimmee grass. And catching the hell out of them, just walloping their ass. So it was a very good day with Bobby. And I gotta tell you, I like all kinds of strange foods. I'm a big anchovies fan. I love pickles, absolutely love pickles. And Bobby is the first angler I've ever seen that actually carries a jar of pickles in his boat as a snack, and I love that. And I don't know why I've never done that. I'm going to start doing it because twofold. If you love pickles, it can fill you up. You eat a few pickles, but the other thing is if you get dehydrated, the pickle juice is even better than Gatorade for dehydration. So I was impressed by that, and Bobby was kind enough. He gave me 2 pickles, and they were like Mount Olive pickles, and I gotta tell you, they were really, really good. I'm very particular with my dill pickles, but yeah, that was awesome. So Bobby, great day, ended the day in first. So now we're going to day 3, and day 3 is the Group A elimination round, right? So you got 40 guys. Excuse me, is it 40 guys? Yes, it's 40 guys. And only the top 20 move to the knockout round. So there is a cut line here, okay? So only, the weights carry over from Elimination Day 1, but Elimination Day 2, only the top 20 guys move on, right, in Group A. So I'm paired with Todd Faircloth. He started in the same spot that he went to the first day, which was a canal, and there was a bridge, that he was fishing, just a little bridge just connecting two different parts of the canal. And so it was like a funneled down area. Heck, it was probably basically the same, little bit bigger than this mirror behind me here. But it was a very, very small little entrance, bridge over it to this next area of the canal. And so Todd he initially would fish it with that straight tail black Texas rig worm, and he'd catch them doing that. They were really in there. And then he'd also once he felt like he caught those fish doing that technique, he went to a crankbait, a small little crankbait, shallow running crankbait. Almost looked like it was almost like a crappie crankbait. It was a small little crankbait. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a Bill Norman, or something. The reason I say Bill Norman used to make these really small crankbaits, and I know some guys used to use those small little crankbaits because I think only Bill Norman made those really small crappie crankbaits, but I don't know if it was that or not, but it was a small crankbait. So anyway, let's see here. Right now I'm hearing Lurch out in the parking lot going, he's sounds like he's emceeing right now. So that's kind of the cool stuff you hear while you're a videographer for Major League Fishing. But I digress. Here we go, right back into it. So let's see here. So just random thought here. So Todd is sponsored by Skeeter, and Skeeter, so I have been in a ton of bass boats for this job, right? I've owned a Champion bass boat. I've owned a Nitro. I've been in a ton of newer Nitros. I've been in a ton of Phoenixes, Bass Cats, every bass boat you can imagine. There's a few I haven't been in. I haven't been in the new Vexus boats, but I've been in a ton of bass boats. And I got to tell you, the Skeeters, I'm really, really impressed by. The layout, I think, is probably the best layout in bass boats. Everything's just symmetrical. Compartments are where they should be. It's just, the boat is made very well. I think they probably have the best seats. Everything is just dialed in on Skeeter boats. And I've been in Skeeter walleye boats before, and I feel the same way about their walleye boats. They just are, the layout, how they're designed, I think they're the best, probably the best layout. They have the best layouts in boats. So super, super impressed with Skeeters. I would say that my two favorite bass boats that I've been on while filming for the Bass Pro Tour are definitely Skeeter and Phoenix. I would rank those two as my favorite boats. Phoenix is crazy. Like, it's got the most smooth ride. I've always thought it was stupid. I've said this before, but I always thought it was stupid to think like a bass boat could be a rough, when they say, oh, it's good in rough water. I was just kind of like, whatever. But Phoenix, to me, has the best. If you could say there's a good rough water running boat, Phoenix is the boat that comes closest to saying, making that make sense. All bass boats are terrible in rough water, but the hull, I don't know what's going with the hull, but chop on a Phoenix, everything, it's smoothed out. And even like boats, you notice like in chop, they'll kind of hit hard on some boats. That Phoenix hull is just smooth as compared to other boats I've been in. So really impressed with Skeeter and Phoenix, my top two boats. Okay, where were we here? So what's interesting about Todd? So he kind of was focused on docks and that bridge, the concrete around the bridge, but I think he had in his mind that that was going to be kind of what he did. He'd fish the docks, and he would pitch some shoreline vegetation a little bit, but that was kind of what he was planning on doing. But he picked up that little crankbait and he started throwing it around these lily pads in the middle of the canal. And he started catching fish that way. And it really, you could see how he just kind of perked up because it opened up more possibilities in that canal. Instead of him just, okay, I'm in a canal, I hope, hopefully there's enough fish in here on the docks and on the shoreline vegetation. I should, hopefully there's enough. I've been catching enough to do well, but are they going to peter out, right? Is there going to be enough fish in this canal to keep that pattern going? And so when he discovered that he could catch fish in the middle of the canal on these isolated lily pad clumps, I think that really it gave him more options, gave him more confidence. So it was cool to see that. It gave him so much confidence, and he had moved up so far way into the top 20 that he eventually was like, I'm just going to leave this area and just save it for the knockout round. And that's exactly what he did. So, because he was, easily in contention, they moved me to Kevin Van Dam. And Kevin Van Dam was right on the cut line. This is a perfect example of what I was saying earlier. So Todd was safe. Not much of a storyline there as far as, okay, he's good. We've got that covered. He's in the top, he's made it into that top 20. Kevin was right on the bubble. He was actually just below the cut line, so I was moved to Kevin. I've worked with Kevin a ton. I've actually, way back in the day, I was in a commercial with Kevin, a Nitro Boats commercial. I used to work at Bass Pro Shops. So I have a lot of history. I've done retail videos with Kevin. I've worked a ton with Kevin. So it's always great to be back in the boat with him. So he's right on the cut line. He was fishing the same areas that Bobby Lane was fishing the day before, the same areas, but instead of pitching, slower presentations, pitching, plastics into the Kissimmee grass, he was actually, he's fishing fast with a crankbait on the edge of it, outside of it, and it just, it was not happening for him. Kevin is a reaction, fisherman. That's his strength. That's what he loves to do. He's a power fisherman. He wants to use baits that are going to make fish react and take it, even if they're like, I'm not really that hungry, but they see something, moving past them fast or erratically, and they get it. I would argue, that's how he's made his career. He fishes fast. He's really good at triggering fish. He makes a ton of presentations in a day. That's been his key to success. And so that's why, that's his strength, and his record obviously speaks for itself. It's worked for him. So he was trying to do that on this stretch. It just wasn't paying off, and it's tough because I know how Bobby caught him through there, and I can't say a word, but it's interesting to see that, those two different styles, and how in this particular situation, this particular time, on this body of water, it just did not work. The slower presentation worked as Bobby. And when I say slower, Bobby's still moving at a clip, but that not moving bait, something that comes in right into their house, boom, that's what the fish were more into. Also, I think those fish were more into that Kissimmee grass. It wasn't like Bobby was fishing real deep into that Kissimmee grass, but they were into it more than Van Dam was able to. Van Dam was on the edge of it more. So cool thing. I've been interested in these new Minn Kota Raptors, which are like Minn Kota's version of the power pole. And Kevin actually had a couple on his boat. First time I've seen them. And they look pretty good. They look really, really sturdy. Look a little bit more sturdy than the power poles. It'll be interesting to see how people like them after they've had some time to use them. You know, more people get them on boats, and it's going to be interesting to see how they hold up as compared to power poles. So, let's see. So you notice I'm not wearing a hat. I lost my hat. That was, what day was that? That was day 3. Day 3, I lost my hat. And so Kevin was nice enough to give me his hat, which is right here. Okay? And look, and he signed it for me. See that? Kevin signed it for me. So I'm going to give this hat away. Okay? You need to be a patron. Go to patreon.com. Become a patron. You can donate as much as you want or as little as you want. Become a member, become a patron, and you know what that entitles you to. One of the things is giveaways like this. There's also something else I'm going to give away in this giveaway package, both of these things together, but I'll get to that. But become a patron of Angling Uploaded. Go to patreon.com, patreon.com, search Angling Uploaded, become a patron, and all that means is you just, you know, you come up with a monthly amount that you think is worth the value that you're receiving from our content. And then, you know, you can be involved in cool giveaways like this. So let's see here. We are on to, so that was cool of Kevin. I wore this hat for that for the day because I didn't want to. I'll tell you why I'm still not wearing a hat here shortly. But yeah, so he gave me his hat, and I wore this while I was filming him, so I didn't get my forehead burnt all to a crisp. So the heartbreaker was that Kevin missed the cut by 3 pounds. And I kind of, you know, while we're driving back, you know, I consider Kevin a friend, you know, because we've worked together so much, and I spent a lot of time with the dude. And I told him, I said, and this is how I feel, it's like all of these guys, all these young kids that you see out there, and many of them fish like Kevin, you know, they're power fishermen. Wheeler's a great example. I told him, I'm like, you made these kids, man. You know, Dustin Connell, I mean, on and on. I said, you made these guys. These are, you know, these are your kids, essentially, you know. He raised the bar in bass fishing and just showing you, like, to me, Kevin really legitimized bass fishing because he showed you that it wasn't luck. Like, he really showed you that someone could really excel on this sport. And you know, guys like Wheeler, he's just passed the torch. I said, you know, I don't know. How can you not be a big fan of Kevin? And I'm just, I feel very lucky to have had a career working with him. So I was really pulling for him. And, you know, it was, I wish he would have made it, but I did. It was good that I felt like I just needed to tell him that, you know, like you have this legacy here, you know, that is really something special that you've passed on. Okay, so now we're moving to day 4, which is Group B elimination. So again, you got 40 guys. They got to get in the top 20, right? And Bobby Lane is going in. He was sitting on top of the leaderboard going into this day, but he's got a bunch of hammers behind him, and he wasn't resting on his laurels by any means. So let's see here. So Ott DeFoe, in true Ott DeFoe fashion on this day, is like in the bottom of the pack. Like he's like 38th or something, and Bobby's in first. And DeFoe just absolutely kicks their tail, man. He starts catching fish and he rockets up the leaderboard into, like, you know, territory where it's making Bobby really uncomfortable. And he's threatening Bobby for first, which is crazy. Like, Ott has found him, right? And so that, like, we were thinking we were going to maybe have a more leisurely day, but that was not the case at all. Bobby had to put the hammer down because of Ott. And so that made a really exciting day. So Bobby was fishing the Kissimmee grass again, and he was catching them, but it was pretty shocking how you know, Ott was really catching the heck out of him. So let's see here. Yeah, so like this is a perfect example. I mean, I you know, Bobby's sponsored by Phoenix Boats, and the boat is unbelievable. Like, every time I get in that thing and I'm running through chop, or it's just and Bobby said it himself. A lot of boats, they hit hard. They're in that Phoenix. However, it's this diamond V hull. I don't know if that's the reason. The way it's got to be. The design of this hull, they call it their diamond V hull, but it's just a smooth running boat. So again, I noticed that while I was filming. And so Bobby holds off Ott to win his elimination round. So, which is really cool. I love this about the elimination rounds. If you get in the first place spot, you go right to the championship round, which is what Bobby did. So that was cool to be in the boat with Bobby and just to have a phenomenal day with him. I mean, catching fish. He caught so many fish. It's amazing how much bass. How many fish are in this Harris Chain of Lakes. The fishing is crazy. And to celebrate, Bobby gave me another Mount Olive pickle out of his pickle jar. So, moving on. Day 5. Day 5 is the knockout round, and I was paired with Todd Faircloth. And Todd goes right to the same canal. But this time, before I get to that, so in the morning, I learned that the boat official that I was with that day, it's actually Skeet Reese's, how would you say, his vehicle driver. So Skeet Reese has this really big F650 truck. It's huge. If you've ever seen Skeet Reese's truck, it's ginormous. And Skeet has a driver that takes his rig all over the country, right? So it takes his big truck and his boat all over the country. And so I actually got to meet Skeet Reese's truck driver because he was our boat official in the boat all day. And he talked about it. I was like, that's got to be something like driving, down the road and you're driving this big truck. And like, first of all, it's a great moving billboard. It's like fantastic. But he said that he'd get people like, he's basically, when he's driving this thing, he's looking at the same level as semi-truck drivers. They're on like the same level. That's how big this truck is. And he was saying that he'd have just people driving up, to see who he was, like who's driving this thing, drive up real close, and then they'd slowly back up, but like people constantly driving up. Okay, if he's, when he's driving down the highway or whatever, and 4 lanes of traffic or whatever, he'd have people come up and get alongside him, see who he is, and be taking pictures too of this vehicle down the road, because it is certainly unique. You do not see many rigs like this. So that was cool. Todd starts in the same canal as he did in the first 2 days of the elimination rounds. And it's tougher. He goes right to that bridge, and I believe he caught some off that bridge, but it's definitely noticeably tougher in the canal. And it was kind of awkward because if you're a fisherman, every fisherman wants, especially if you're fishing a tournament, you want the place to yourself. You don't want to, you don't want anybody in there, any spot you're on. You don't want competition, right? just in general, you don't. And so to be in a tournament and this is happening when you have a competitor, you know, someone else coming in, it's super stressful. And here comes Skeet Reese into the canal that, you know, basically Todd had to himself the first two elimination, you know, rounds. So you could tell, you know, that it wasn't, he was great about it, but it, you know, it kind of deflated his sails a little bit. And so he comes in and it really, I mean, it would deflate anybody's sails when Skeet starts actually catching fish out of the canal. And so, you know, in one, I'll tell you something that was kind of interesting that it actually didn't make the live show. So Todd, I would say the best spot that Todd had in that canal was the bridge. Okay, this little bridge, only about this, you know, this big, a little bit bigger than this mirror behind me. And Skeet wanted to go to the other side of the canal, or other side of the bridge. He wanted to go to a different part of the canal, and so he asked Todd if he could go through. And Todd was fishing the bridge. So really, the only way for Skeet to get through that area was for Todd to, you know, to say, yeah, go ahead, and I'll stop fishing, and you can come in. And so Skeet asked him. He goes, hey, can I get through there? And Todd said, yeah. And then I don't know if Skeet didn't hear him, but he asked again and said, he goes, yeah, coming through. And Skeet asked if he was grumpy. And I just thought that was funny. I wish they would have played in the live show because it was funny interaction between the two. And I know that Skeet and Todd, you know, they get along well, but it's just funny to see that stuff. I mean, hell, if my best friend, if I was competing with my best friend and he came in and wanted to like make me, you know, like get through an area that I'm fishing, I mean, I'd kind of be like, oh, but they handled it well, and it was just kind of a funny little interaction that I wish would have made the live show. So I thought I'd share that with you. Okay. Oh, and this was really nice. So unfortunately, Todd did not make the cut, and I was super bummed that was the case. But it was really nice as we're going back to the ramp. Todd had actually told me that I was his favorite cameraman, and I appreciated that very much. It was nice of him to say that. I put myself in their shoes. It's added stress to have a camera in the boat. So I try to be just like a mouse back there. You know, I don't want to, you know, I need to get what I need to get, but I don't want to intrude. And I need to be as just, I mean, like a mouse. I don't want to, you know, these guys are competitive, and this is high stakes competition. So I'm there to document. I don't want to infringe at all on how they're fishing. So, but that was nice of Todd to say that. Okay, so here we go. Championship round, which was today, and I was paired with Bobby Lane. And I was so excited that I was paired with Bobby. I knew it was going to be an awesome day. The weather's been awesome. Fishing's been awesome. And I've been paired with awesome people. Bobby, he's just, first of all, I love the way he fishes. He's very versatile, but I'd say he's probably best known for pitching. He probably likes to do that the most, and I understand because I love doing that. So just excited to be able to film him today. His pitching bite had slowed down considerably. They were not biting like they were in previous days. And so he was trying to catch him off that Kissimmee grass, off the edge of it, but it was just not happening very well. He was getting a few bites, but not at the tempo that he needed to get these bites. So he moved up shallow, and was fishing kind of like towards the back ends of docks, basically fishing the shoreline, cypress trees, cypress knees, the root system of cypress trees, and the docks, the ends, I guess the back of the docks. And then he started catching fish that way on a spinnerbait. He would then alternate. He'd also go out and, flip, pitch, that Kissimmee grass a little bit, catch a few there, but then he'd go in shallow and with that spinnerbait and he'd catch them. So he had a kind of a 1-2 punch, and it was, it was working for him. He wasn't right up at the top, but for most of the day, but he was still keeping pace relatively well. One thing that happened, so I should have, where is it? Actually, it's in the car. No, I'm not going to worry about it. I actually have it hanging up in my bathroom right now, but I carry this boat seat with me. When you're in these boats, these angler boats, they don't have in the middle seat, there isn't a cushion seat. So I actually bought a seat from Walmart. And as we were driving to a different spot, Bobby asked if I can get a water out of the cooler. So I reached up to get a water, and my boat seat flew out of the boat, right? And I'm like, Bobby, don't. I used an expletive, but I said, blank it. I said, blank it. Go. Don't worry about my stupid seat. But he actually, this guy's fished for $100,000. And he turns around and he goes, gets a stupid Walmart seat. And, what else can you say? I felt like an idiot that thing actually flew out, but he's a first class dude, Bobby Lane. So okay, so I don't want to forget anything. Okay, so Bobby's kind of in the middle of the pack in the top 10, right? Only the top 10 or top guys have moved on. I forgot to say, so Todd Faircloth. So on day 5, which was the knockout round, only the top 8 guys move on. So anyway, he didn't make the cut. So for the championship round, oh gosh, I don't even know why I had to bring that up, but just there it is. So Bobby's in the middle of the pack. He's like in the 5th place around that position, right? And he starts catching fish, moves up to, I think, 4th. I think that's where he was towards like the end of the championship round. And with just like 30 seconds to go, he's pitching that Kissimmee grass, and so basically with a Kissimmee grass, he was pitching a creature bait, but he would also change it up a little bit with this is a soft stick bait, Texas rig. But anyway, he was pitching, and with 30 seconds, something like that, not a lot of time to go, he sets the hook and he lands a 4-pounder that moves him into 2nd place, which is like quite a bump as far as what he ends up winning at the end of the day. So Bobby ends up in 2nd place, and he ended up in 2nd place at the last in stage 2. He's having a hell of a year. He's leading angler of the year, and you totally, like, with Bobby, the guy's super versatile. He's super competitive. He's got that he does not stop, right? And the great thing about Bobby is that he does not stop, and he's intense, but he's really, really fun to be around, and he's super nice, and he's positive, and it's just a great, great combination. And so I wanted to say this little deal. He paid me $1, right? And he signed it, Bobby Lane. It says 30-pound, what is it, cut weight, right? 30-pound cut weight. Now, what in that world, what does that mean? And this is going to be part of the giveaway here. Patreon.com, search Angling Uploaded, become a patron, and, come up with whatever you want to pay monthly. It's up to you. You can be in this giveaway. I'm going to give this $1 away with Bobby's signature on there, and you're like, well, what's the deal with this $1? Well, the day, when was that? It was day 4 the boat official that I was with and Bobby and I, we came up with, okay, for the knockout round, what is it going to take? What is that weight that it's going to take to actually make it into that top 10, right? So I came up with 30 pounds. Like, you had to be, have 30 pounds, or to win, or to make it on, to be in that top 8 to go on. That was the weight. And they guessed other weights, and I was closest to the actual weight that it took to go into the championship round. And so I got the $1. So we all bet $1, and I got the $1. So there you go. Bobby Lane, Kevin Van Dam. This is going to be our giveaway on Patreon. Check it out. And if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to Angling Uploaded, like the video, share it, all that fun stuff. Really appreciate you watching. And we're going to be off to stage 4. Really looking forward to it.